From WFRV TV, Local 5, serving Northeast Wisconsin, including Green Bay, Fox Cities, and the Lakeshore. This is Newsmaker Sunday.
Good morning. Welcome to Newsmaker Sunday. I'm Tom Zalaski. The Salvation Army Christmas campaign is underway. Both the Green Bay and the Fox City Salvation Armies are working together to raise money, something that we here at Channel 5 keep track of. We report the totals every Friday on Local 5 News. And joining us this morning to talk about the joint effort, Salvation Army, and their goal for the holiday season, Crystal Knutson in the Christmas red, and sitting next to her, Crystal from Fox City's Renee Main from the Green Bay offices. Both of you, good morning. Nice to have you here.
Hi. Hi, good morning.
Before we get into the actual totals and what your goals are for this year, let me ask each of you your particular path to get to where you are heading up your particular organizations. Renee, I'll start with you.
Sure. So I actually had worked at Schneider for about 12 years, and I had taken a little bit of a career break when my third daughter was premature. Following that, my husband decided to go back to school to become a police officer, and a fellow colleague from Schneider had called me and said, "Hey, I work at the Salvation Army now, and I'm going to be retiring. I think you would be great in this role." So in 2018, I had started just really focusing on the Christmas season, volunteering and the Bell office. From there, I became the volunteer and special events coordinator, and now I have recently been promoted into the director of development. Sorry.
That is quite the route to take. Crystal, how did you get up here?
Yeah, so I've been in my position, Director of Development and Marketing Communications at the Fox Cities Corps for going on my 6th year. But over about 17 years prior to that, I was in for-profit, a few different bigger companies in the area. Loved it, did great, was able to get my experience in marketing and in development. And I reached my goal on where I wanted to be, and I still wasn't complete fulfilled, knew that I wanted to help people. So I was on the advisory board while I was working for profit and companies, and the position had come open, and I knew at that point I was able to, with my family, take the change and go into the nonprofit world, and I love it, and I wouldn't change it for the world.
You know, we mentioned at the top of the show this was a combined effort of Fox Valley. Is this something new with Green Bay and Fox Valley? Yeah,
so I mean, combined with the Kettle Cast is something that we like to do every year together. But together it's nice because, you know, we cover a lot of the same markets, and even though we have separate zip codes, which is why there's different cores. That's why there's a Green Bay core. That's why there's a Fox Valley or Fox area core. So when we say that your money stays local, it's because it really does. And so therefore, when you have somebody that wants to give in Green Bay, it stays in Green Bay for the neighbors. So because our coverage is the same from a news and radio standpoint, we thought, hey, let's get together and try to find ways that we can market together.
Yeah, so it stays local. People always give money to the Salvation Army, but they really don't know what the money is being used for. What's this money going for?
So during the Christmas campaign, we actually raise money that is used annually, and it really supports a lot of our local programs. So between Green Bay and Fox Cities, we both have feeding programs where we're feeding individuals through lunch services. We also have food pantry, senior programming, and then we have some more recognizable programming that happens this time of year, like Christmas distribution. We recently had Coats for Kids and Adopt a Family.
So the money that we're giving right now in the red kettles isn't necessarily for this Christmas. It is for programs that are going on throughout the year.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You know, we have heard the story so often about how important it is to have a person at the kettle. From your experiences, from your research, how much of a difference does that make, having a person and not having a person there?
Oh, huge.
Yeah.
An unmanned kettle brings in about only 4% for the day. So in other words, if you have somebody who's ringing the bells, it brings in over 96% of donations versus someone not there. One of the things that we try to get from our community is to fill those bell ringing spots, because for some reason, when people hear those bells and they go into the store, they want to put money in there, whether it's one time or a continuous time. And because this is our largest fundraiser, we really are in need of bell ringers, and we try to man our bells at all times.
So how do you become a bell ringer? Do you have to sign up? Can you just walk up to the kettle and pick up the apron and put it on and go? What's the process?
So we do use an online sign-up tool, registertoring.com, and we encourage people to utilize that. However, if you have trouble or don't have access to computers, we also have individuals that are able to help sign up. You can just call the local offices. We do have some individuals that when they do see an empty kettle, they do stop and ring. We absolutely love that. You're welcome to do that. However, let us know, because as Crystal and I both know, there are certain metrics that we like to keep track of, and it's really important for us to understand how many hours volunteers are supporting us.
Well, I was going to add to that, what's really neat too is when you do sign up, you get an email afterwards to say, hey, this is how much was collected in the red kettle that you volunteered at. And what's really kind of neat is, we have those numbers that, okay, so if that kettle brought in $100 that hour, you served 60 people for our new meal program, for example. So we're able to put something emotional to it.
Yeah. What about people who don't have cash? And I ask this because this truly happened to me last Saturday. Festival Foods, I didn't have cash. I paid with a credit card. And I felt so terrible walking past the bell ringer, and I didn't even look at the bell ringer because I was trying to get away.
Yeah.
And have money.
There are a couple different opportunities.
I hear you.
Yeah.
What could I have done? What should I have done?
So we have a sensor on the top of our kettles that you can actually bring your cell phone to, and it will link you to our donation page. Crystal, do you have those as well?
We do.
Yeah.
So it's a sensor.
It's a sensor, yep. So like Apple Pay or a QR code, we have those on our kettles. So it'll pop up on your phone, and then you can just go ahead and donate through your phone. There's different ways on your phone, whether that's Apple Pay, Venmo, or you can be directed, just put in your card too. You can choose your payment method at that point.
Okay, bell ringer, I'm sorry. I didn't know I could do that. I didn't know there was a sensor. Yeah. We're back with more with the Salvation Army right after this. Stay with us. We are back talking about the Salvation Army and the annual Red Kettle campaign. Ladies, match days. How important are match days to both of your organizations?
Oh, they're crucial. Yeah. When we talk about volunteering before, right, many hands make for light work. Same thing goes for donations. When we bring our community corporations together for donations, we have people who want to donate that wait for those match days just to donate their monies, because it gets doubled. Yeah. Combined between Green Bay and Fox Cities, we have 3 different companies that share match days, like US Venture, TDS, and JJ Keller. But then we have other ones that work within the community. So Fox Cities has 17 specifically, Green Bay around the same number, and like I said, people wait for that so that their money is doubled.
Yeah. Do you know off the top of your head what's coming up, some of the future match days?
US Venture is on December 8th.
Okay.
And one of the other opportunities that we really flourish with is organizations that have match days generally have individuals that will also bell ring, and we can adopt a kettle on that day. So there are staff members and employees that will get out and they'll ring, and then they help us man those kettles, which is really important. And especially when they can wear their logos, and they can compete against one another, and it just ends up being really magical and Christmassy.
One of the biggies that we associate with Salvation Army is the Christmas Assistance Program. How does that work? What is that all about?
So in Green Bay, we have Christmas distribution, and within Christmas distribution, we have the Toys for Tots program, Give a Kid a Book, and we also have food baskets that individuals are able to sign up for. I know that the demand is high right now, and we've seen that throughout the programming that we've had in the last 6 months. So we expect to see an increase in that avenue. We also do have Adopt a Family, where we're working with other agencies in the community to refer families to our organization that are being adopted by local organizations and individuals.
So at this Christmas time, how many families are you helping, each organization?
For adoptive family, we had to cap off at one point because donors we don't always find as much donors to match with the families, and we don't want to have additional families that we aren't able to match.
Yeah.
So right now we're at, Fox Cities is at 475 families.
475.
Yeah, just for adoptive family. Now, any other families who wanted to be adopted goes right, it's okay, they're still going to get everything they need, they just go into our Toys for Tots program. So that's just the difference. But yeah, 475, right now it's out there until December 5th. They can go ahead and find a family to match and adopt because the need is there.
What about Green Bay, Renee?
We put a cap right around 400. One of the things that we have noticed in the last few years, we have always done Christmas distribution and adopt at the same time, but we have had to move adopt a family up because of the space that we're renting is smaller than we have in the past. So that does incorporate a little bit of a difference for us because we have to make sure that those things are done a little bit more quickly, and those cutoffs really have to happen around this time.
And Coats for Kids is part of this. How big of a need do we have for coats? Because I know the average person sits there and goes, what do you mean you don't have a coat?
One of the things that we see annually is people really purchase those coats for the younger kids, and we have kids that are 18 and they all the way up through senior year. We do not get as many coats in adult sizes as we need, so we do have to save some funds and purchase coats on our own. This year we actually had distributed about 1,000 more coats than we had last year.
1,000 more coats, not 1,000 coats.
Correct.
And you need stuff beside coats. What do you need that goes along with the coats?
So, well, you know, the hats, the mittens, and snow pants, anything like that is definitely, you know, needed, especially in Wisconsin here. So even though our Coats for Kids distribution has ended, it's during the distribution for Christmas, Adopt a Family and Toys for Tots. If there is a need, the family just asks for additional coats, or if we have additional snow pants and hats and mittens, and we can absolutely give it out at that point.
We have much more to come with Salvation Army in Green Bay and the Fox Valley, so please stay with us. Back now with the Salvation Army this morning, Crystal Knutson from the Fox Cities and Renee Main from Green Bay. Something we were discussing during the commercial break that not a whole lot of people think about during this toy distribution. You need volunteers to interpret. Tell me about that.
Yes, so for our Toys for Tots program, we have the families come in and go through and pick out their toys for their children. And we do need Hmong and Spanish interpreters to walk these families through and be able to translate and be able to communicate so that we can let them know, you know, how many toys they can purchase and which gift cards they get, etc. So it's a big need.
And it's a need in both
Absolutely. One of the things that we've attempted to do for Coats for Kids this year, and we're going to implement it again for the distribution of Christmas, is we're trying to understand the need of the families and really put them in a time slot where we have volunteers that are able to translate. We've noticed a little bit of a opportunity there, so we're just kind of trying things new. We really want this experience to be great for everyone involved. One of the things we've also done in Green Bay is we've had an international and community festival where we've really been able to engage with more individuals that are bilingual, and it really is important for these families to have a pleasant experience and understand, you know, kind of the ins and outs of that day.
And here we're talking about Red Kettle and Christmas time, and there's the kettle. But your need is year-round. Once you get past Toys for Tots and the coats and the meals, then what are you facing once the new year hits? What kind of programs do you have for which you need money?
Yeah, like you mentioned, it's year-round, so you know it knows no season. Need knows no season, right? Not just November and December. It's really January through December. So it's for our all-year-round programs, such as our housing, our noon meal program, which is every single day of the week, all year long, our food pantry, you know, everything, rent assistance, utilities, anything that comes in between. it's really something that people don't think of. A lot of times in June, July, August, we are doing Facebook Lives. We're reaching out to the news and media to, hey, can we get on air and let our community know that we are in need of food? We're well, especially this year with inflation and the economy, but we're seeing new faces, new clients, and we are in need more than we ever have been. So we always put a plea out for more donations come that time, because we're lower in the food industry at that point.
Are you kind of in the business of helping people out of poverty?
So we have a few different programs. We definitely want to meet basic needs no matter where someone is without discrimination, and that's really important. But in Green Bay, we also have a Pathway of Hope program, and that's really built where individuals are working with us. They have to be a family, so you could be a single parent household, but they must have at least one child that's a minor. And within these families, we're really walking alongside them and helping them build different types of education surrounding budgeting and meal cooking, parenting, whatever they need. It's kind of a lot of gray area because we work with the families to support them in whatever way possible, but the goal really is to help them break that cycle of poverty.
What about now the cold weather is moving in? People are in need of shelter, and we've got St. John's and several others. Does the Salvation Army have any role in that, or do you rely on other agencies?
When it comes to shelter, we're a resource to say, hey, this is what's happening in the area. Have you checked, in Fox Cities Pillars? Have you checked, just different areas that we know that can take someone in for the night specifically? But as far as our housing is concerned in the Fox Cities area, we do have programs that our apartments or our families within the community, it's like 12 to 18 months that they go through. So there's always a waiting list to get on it, and we're always able to fulfill that need. But if it's an immediate shelter that night because of the weather, we'll always be able to give a resource on where to go.
We are back to wrap up with the Salvation Army right after this. Please stay right there. And we are back now talking Salvation Army. Crystal Knudsen from the Fox Cities and Renee Main from Green Bay. The business of the Salvation Army is not just helping people with their material needs, also their spiritual needs. Do you play an active role in the spiritual needs, or do you bring in pastoral help? How does that work?
I would say a little bit of both.
Yeah.
One of the wonderful things about the Salvation Army is we're really allowed to embrace our faith and pray with people and do whatever we feel comfortable with, which is wonderful. But we also have officers that are able to be there for pastoral care needs. And we have a lot of church services and opportunities for people to get involved.
For people contemplating giving, is there a population out there that you serve that's invisible to those of us who do not need help?
I think a lot of it is in the Green Bay area. We don't really see homelessness like we do in other communities when we travel. And there's a lot of people that are staying at Safe Sleep. They're sleeping in their vehicles. They're using some of the local shelters. And when you're living in crisis, it's really hard to look to tomorrow because you're just focusing on getting through today.
And that's really what our campaign is all about, Love Beyond, right? Love beyond a Christmas present under the tree tonight, and actually tomorrow there's a meal on the table, right? So loving beyond to the next day, to the next month, to loving beyond to that car breaking down, loving beyond to needing more groceries, whatever that might be.
Let me ask you quickly, because I drive past all the time, Croc Center. How do you become a member? How do you qualify? What do you got going on in there?
The Croc Center is amazing. I am there with my kids almost every night of the week. There's wonderful opportunities to get involved, no matter if you have a family or you're an individual. Pickleball, my son and I, we just started kind of playing that casually, and he thinks he beats me, but he cheats on how he counts. My daughter is also Tiny Tim in A Christmas Carol. The play is going to be this coming up here in December, and then there are just a new session that is happening in January. So there's swim lessons, yoga classes, there's aquatic bikes, there's also after school care and day camp in the summer, which is a really fun and safe place to be.
All right, I got about a minute left here, and the main reason you're here is because you need money for the Salvation Army for not just the kettle campaign, but for all year round. Your pitch to people out there as they walk to and from their shopping and walk past the kettles, what do you tell them?
I'd say, please, a little goes a long way. You don't feel that whatever you have, oh, that's not enough, you know. So please, if you have the resources from a monetary standpoint, these are monies and donations that will go for all year-round programs. And if you have time, please go and pick up a red kettlebell or in other ways that you can assist from a volunteer standpoint, because really we like to look at it a three-legged stool. One is our volunteers, one is our donations, our donors, the donations from our donors, and the other one is our advisory board. And without all three, we couldn't stand up. And we also really want to thank everybody, whether that's their time, money, resources. We really couldn't do what we do, doing the most good in our community without you. So thank you.
Tis the season. Yeah. Red kettles right there. All right, Crystal, Renee, thanks so very much for being with us this morning.
Thank you.
Much appreciated. If you have a newsmaker in your town who you think we ought to have on this program, let us know about it. Send us an email to tips@wearegreenbay.com, or you can message us on Facebook. And be sure to join us once again Sunday morning at 7. Until then, have a great day.